So when we talk about Islamic education, we are not talking about a purely fitri derivation of metaphysical knowledge from empirical data. We've always been clear about this. This was Imam al-Ghazali's realization, that the ilm al-kalam, or any discursive knowledge, cannot reach beyond itself. We need revelation. And we need that revelation which is mediated to us through the ulama. Not just the revelation of the zahir and the ahkam, the do's and don'ts of religion, as infallibly preached to us by the founder of a great religious tradition, but also, more subtly, less expressively, something of the inner greatness of the Sahib al-Mi'raj, of the man of the Mi'raj. Because we are required to make takhalluq of the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, to acquire his properties. Following of the Sunnah is no following at all if it is merely looking at his outward, being educated by his outward, and not experiencing anything of his inward. Properly speaking, that is of course impossible, because we believe in the unity of the human composite. That which is done to the soul has an effect on the body and the mind. That which is done to the mind has an effect on the body and the soul. That which is done to the body has an effect on the mind and the soul. These three aspects of man, reflected in the hadith language in terms of Islam, Iman and Ihsan, what to do with your body, what to do with your mind, what to do with your soul, are closely linked. We don't believe in any dualism. This is why the modern world is so aberrantly and tragically wrong when it says, for instance, that sexual relations before marriage is just fine. Why not? It's just recreation like any other recreation. Now we would say that's because historically you have inherited a dualism between body and spirit. We believe, however, that these three aspects of humanity are closely linked. And that just as if the spirit is sick, the body can fall sick as well. Modern doctors will acknowledge this, that many physical illnesses originate in what they call psychological states. That's not controversial. But the opposite is true as well. If you do something momentous to the body, that's going to have an effect on the spirit. But they can't see that. The idea that you can be spiritually transformed by something that happens to the body is very alien to the Christian tradition, certainly alien to the Western post-Cartesian dualistic mentality. It's not just a question of morality here, it's a question of spirituality. What you do to the body affects the spirit, and hence affects your salvation. We link the three. Our forms of ibadat are all to do with the body, as well as the mind and the spirit. The salat, an obvious example. Ramadan, obvious example. The Hajj, certainly an obvious example. All of these are reminders that we must serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with everything, not just with the spirit. And the body is just a fallen piece of flesh that goes its own way in the world, turns up occasionally in church. No, with the whole body, with everything, with the human kull. So